All right, everybody, as promised, we're going to look at some examples of factoring by grouping or factoring when your A term does not equal 1. After we've done all this, you'll be very glad when we learn the quadratic equation because it makes this a lot easier on you. So we'll get through this and then we'll get to another method of doing this that might not take quite so much time. So let's go ahead and look at this first example here. I've got 2x squared plus 17x plus 21. So I'm going to multiply my A term, which is 2, times my C term, which is 21, and I'm going to get 42. Okay? Next thing I need to do is I need to find the factors of 42 that add up to 17, my B term. So my B term is 17, and I want to find the factors of 42 that add up to 17. Okay? Well, I know it's not 1 and 42. That's not anywhere close. Let's see about 2 and 21. Still not quite there. Let's try 3. 42 divided by 3 is going to be 14. Looks like we found it. 3 times 14. 3 times 14 is equal to 42. 3 plus 14 is 17. Okay? So now that we found the factors of A times C that add up to B, we're going to go ahead and split up the B term using those factors. So I'm going to say 3x and 14x. And the next thing we need to do is we need to group or pair up the split up parts of the B term with A or C depending on where we might have common factors. So if I look at my A term, I have the 2x squared. If I look at my C term, I have the 21 over there. Okay, so if I look at 3x and 14x, 3x and 2x, the only common factor they have there is the x, but I'm more concerned with the coefficient. But I do know that 3 and 21 have a common factor of 3, so I'm going to put my 3x over here next to my 21, and I know that 14x and 2x squared have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to put my 14x here, okay? So now I've got 2x squared plus 14x plus 3x plus 21. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split these 4 terms down the middle and take out common factors from each side where I've split it apart. So 2 and 14, their greatest common factor is 2. X squared and x, I can take out an x. So if I take a 2 out of 2, that's 1. X squared divided by x is x, so I'm left with just x here. If I divide 14 by 2, I'm left with 7. X divided by x cancels out, so I'm left with x plus 7 over here. And then on the right side, let's say I take a 3 out of both of those, plus 3. 3x divided by 3 leaves me with just x. 21 divided by 3 leaves me with just 7. So over there I'm left with x plus 7. All right? So now you've got the part where you're going to take out the remaining common factor and rewrite. So I can take x plus 7 out of both sides. So it comes x plus 7. And then I'm left with times 2x plus 3. All right? Now, if you want to check your answer, you can always distribute or FOIL, whichever one you prefer to call it. So 2x squared plus 3x plus 14x plus 21. And when we simplify and combine our like terms, we got what we started with. So that would be the factored form right there. X plus 7 times 2x plus 3. Okay? Let's look at another example over here. I've got 2n squared plus 15n plus 7. Right? I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 2n by the 7, or the 2 times 7, that gives me 14. Okay? And I want to find the factors of 14 that add up to my B term, which is 15. Okay? Let's see, 1 and 14. Looks like I found them. Okay? So 1 times 14 is 14. 1 plus 14 is 15. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite the B term, split up the B term using that. So instead of it being 15n, I'm going to write it as n plus 14n, or 1n plus 14n. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group the split up parts of the B term with A or C depending on where the common factors may be. I know that 7 and 14 have a common factor of 7, and n squared and n have a common factor of n. So I think that's how I want to group these this time. That looks like that might be my best option. So I'm going to do 2n squared plus n plus 14n plus 7. Okay? Because if I factor these two and group them together, I can take an n out of both of those. If I group these together and factor, I can take a 7 out of both of those. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and split it down the middle. I'm going to take the greatest common factor of 2n squared, and n is going to just be n. 2n squared divided by n is 2n. N divided by n is plus 1. And then over here, the greatest common factor of 14n is 7, and 7 is going to be plus 7. So 14n divided by 7 is 2n. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And now I can look and see if I have common factors to take out of both sides, and I do. I can take the 2n plus 1 out of both sides. So I've got 2n plus 1, and then once I take that out, I'm left with n plus 7. So that's how you would factor that.